For years upon years, and even to this day, there has been this massive narrative in the gaming community about, is there ever going to be a game that is a COD killer? Call of Duty, guys, being the biggest, most, renowned first-person shooter of our time, has been dominant in this space. And it really hasn't even been close. There's been other games that have, come out that are, certainly up there. And I'm not really talking necessarily about like, some of the free-to-play games like, Valorant or, even games like CSGO, which are massive in terms of viewership and things of that nature. But when we talk about a year-over-year basis, the amount of copies that are sold, things of that nature, Call of Duty stands alone. Now, there's been talk that there are a number of games that are coming out that are slowly but surely going to be creeping on Call of Duty. And one of them we just talked about, and that was Dead Drop, Dr. Disrespect's game, which is still years away, so it's hard to say, when that game's going to come out, but they're definitely building some hype and excitement around that game. And as more developments come out, they're going to continue streaming those things. And then when the game fully comes out, I think there's going to be so much excitement just from the community and from gamers alike that are going to at least try this game out. Well, there's another game that is going to be coming out by the name of XDefiant. And we've gotten some, betas and things of that nature that people have been able to play it. And I got to tell you, out of all the games out there, Dead Drop seems like one that could definitely challenge Call of Duty in a number of ways. But XDefiant is one I feel that could really also compete against Call of Duty in terms of numbers. Now, I say that though, but is it going to, are these games going to sell as many copies? We have, free to play elements. I mean, Dead Drop, we don't know all of the, all the elements and how that's all going to work. But when we talk about free to play versus paying, to purchase the game, or, you pay to play, Call of Duty, that's why it's just so powerful, because people will pay year over year to play Call of Duty and the new Call of Duty entries. And I will say that it's going to be very hard for me to say that either one of these games is going to be the COD killer, because we've been saying it for so long. So many people in the community have been saying, oh, this is going to be the COD killer. This is going to be the game that dethrones Call of Duty. And the reality of the matter is, when you look at the numbers on Twitch, Call of Duty is not as high as like CSGO or Valorant or some of these other FPS games. But when we talk about just how many people are playing it and how many copies it's selling year over year, there is nothing that is even close to Call of Duty from a first-person shooter perspective. And I think it's reasonable to expect that there's not going to be another game like that for a very long time. I do think that there will be, at some point, there's going to be increased competition as time goes. And when I say that, I mean that XDefiant and Dead Drop, what they're going to do, potentially XDefiant even more than Dead Drop, but definitely XDefiant is the way that they're going to really tap into this whole thing is they're going to draw a lot of people away from Call of Duty, at least for a period of time, to try the game out. We saw it in the beta. We saw tons of Call of Duty, YouTubers to content creators and actual pro players that are playing in the CDL and stuff play XDefiant. And so when I see that, could the numbers start shifting away from Call of Duty and going to XDefiant? I think it's reasonable to expect that some of that is going to happen, but it's all going to come down to the development team over there, over at Ubisoft, that are making XDefiant to continue to create a roadmap that is going to be absolutely awesome and something that's compelling to the community at large, that you're going to come back to the experience over and over again. Because it's one thing to bring you to an experience one time or maybe for a week, but to bring you back to the experience over and over again, that's a totally different game. And so I think XDefiant, They've got a lot of work cut out for them if they want to be considered the COD killer. We've talked in the past a lot on the YouTube channel about different games that were, in different forms of development that were and games that have come out that could they be the COD killer? And every time it just has never happened. And I don't think that you could just completely kill Call of Duty. I do think that you could challenge the throne for sure. And I think that these games are going to do that. And I think there's going to be games in the future that continue to do that as well. So at least right now, I'm going to pump the brakes on thinking that, xdefiant and Dead Drop and, other games that are going to be coming out in the future are going to challenge Call of Duty from from essentially taking over the FBS spot of being the largest first person shooter on the planet. But I will say that I think with competition breeds greatness, because when you have so many other companies that are trying to chase you, it really makes the developers and the publishers realize that they've got to really get it together, and they have to put all their resource and development into making amazing games that are going to bring people back to their experience instead of going elsewhere. Because when you're on top, everybody's gunning for you. And so there's going to be a lot of that going on here in the future, I think, more now than ever, especially with Valorant that coming out. And then, of course, CSGO 2 and a number of other games that are now coming out, like XDefiant, Dead Drop. I got to tell you, I don't think Call of Duty has to be worried yet, but they really, really need to start caring about what the community wants, instead of just trying to always listen to the casual gamer. You need to listen to a little bit of what everybody's saying. The casual community, the competitive community, every community matters when you talk about games of this magnitude. And so I just really think that Call of Duty, and I think it going now to Xbox, is going to be massive. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be huge for the future of the IP, because it's going to be some fresh eyeballs on this thing, and it could really go to new heights, especially right now when you have all these other companies that are coming for you. That being said, though, do you think XDefiant is a game that could be considered a COD killer? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more XDefiant content and videos, stay here with zrotv.